Notice to Congress, the days of legalizing theft are over. From the writings of Anna von Reitz. Big Lake, Alaska, September 2014. The most recent round of fraud began on March 28, 1861. That was the day the Congress of the United States of America adjourned for lack of quorum and never reconvened. Ever since, Congress has functioned in one of three roles: 1. As a corporate board of directors for private, mostly foreign-owned and deceptively named governmental services corporations operated by banking cartels, the Federal Reserve running the United States of America, Inc., and the IMF running the United States, or 2. The government of a legislative democracy calling itself the United States of America, minor, American, states, more often thought of as federal territories and possessions, Guam, Puerto Rico, etc., or 3. Operating as a plenary oligarchy ruling the Washington DC Municipal Government. All this time that you thought the members of Congress were representing you and your interests, they've been representing other interests entirely. That explains a lot, doesn't it? On March 6, 1933, the President of the United States of America, Inc., Franklin Delano Roosevelt, attended a conference of governors meeting. These governors were all state franchise managers of the United States of America, Inc., exactly like local franchise owners of Burger King or Sears. They got together and pledged the assets of their customers, their employers, the American states and people, as sureties for their private corporate debts. And then they bankrupted the United States of America and all the state franchises, the federal states that were created by the 14th Amendment of their private for-profit corporations look-alike, sound-alike Constitution, published as the Constitution of the United States of America, are not the same as the actual states of the Union, nor are their state citizens the same as American state citizens, nor are their U.S. citizens the same as citizens of the United States, but they pretended that they were, and the banks gleefully agreed to secure the debt owed by the United States of America, Inc. The banks established maritime salvage liens against every parcel of land, every business, every man, woman, and child in America, and continued to operate their doppelganger corporation under Chapter 11 reorganization. They laid claim to your good faith and credit, stole your credit cards, and your identity as an American state citizen, and they never bothered to tell the victim. They also had you declared legally dead and probated your estate and issued bonds based on the value of your labor and private property. Just look at your birth certificate, signed by the county registrar, an officer of the probate court, issued in the name of a dead person, you, numbered as a bond and issued on bond paper. At the same time, they converted all your private bank accounts to the ownership of the estate trust they created in your name and moved the estate offshore to Puerto Rico, where you and your assets supposedly came under the foreign maritime jurisdiction of the United States of America, minor. Look at the name on your bank account checks, look at the signature line under a high-powered magnifier. The IMF claims that it owns all your bank accounts. It claims that your estate was abandoned, and now all the spoils belong to the bank. They are pressing Congress to pass laws to allow them to seize all American bank accounts, your savings, your retirement accounts, your checking accounts, everything. We've seen Dodd-Frank. Now we are seeing bail-in proposals. The big banks want Congress to front for their greed and criminality. Again, this is all fiduciary trust fraud, and fiduciary trust fraud has no statute of limitations. 1862 or 1933 or 2014, it makes no difference. We suggest that members of Congress assume their public offices acting under full 100% individual commercial liability, or be ousted and tried as criminals. Next, we suggest that they honor their contract with America and issue debt-free public money, real American dollars. Next, liquidate all the too-big-to-fail banks, tear up the corporate charters these entities have violated, seize back our purloined assets, and shut them all down. Meanwhile, the market for financial services will open up for banks operated under actual state charters. This thing you have thought of as your government is nothing but a multinational conglomerate run criminally amok. The real government of this country is vested in each of you. You all hold more civil authority on the land than the entire federal government. Deal with the Federal Reserve, and IMF, and Congress the same way you would deal with Target, or Walmart, or Arby's, if they grossly endangered, cheated, enslaved, and defrauded you. Keep calm and get even. You all know what to do. You have the guaranteed universal right of self-declaration provided by United Nations conventions, plus the protections of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. You have the Geneva Conventions and the Lieber Code. You have the preserved right to common law, guaranteed by Uniform Commercial Code 1 to 308 and recourse guaranteed by 1 to 103.6, which includes the right not to be bound by any contract that is unilateral, inequitable, involuntary, undisclosed, tainted by fraud, not in kind, entered in your behalf by others merely claiming to represent you, or deemed to exist as the result of receiving a compelled benefit or fruit of monopoly inducement. You have the absolute right to expatriate from their maritime jurisdiction. Do so. When 400 million Americans stand up and clean house, the world will listen and hear the roar.